Mayor Tim Keller is pushing a $28 million package of sports-related projects he says will boost Albuquerque's profile as a city that can handle larger sporting events. The mayor wants to refinance existing lodgers' tax bonds to pay for, among other things, a $10 million renovation of Los Altos Park that would add a softball field and a BMX track, $3 million for a multi-use soccer complex, $3.5 million to expand the West Side baseball facilities, improvements to downtown connector trails, the convention center, the city's track facility. None of this sounds bad, Rachel, but bonds are public money, and there's a fundamental question here. Does Albuquerque necessarily need this sports tourism thing, and is this the right way to go if in fact it is yes? What's your thought on that?
So it's always, things are going to get interesting when you roll out your big plan, and immediately some of the groups impacted by that plan come out and say, hey, we really wish you'd talk to us about this first.
Exactly.
So you have the hoteliers in town asking some tough questions about, are these projects needed? Would they help increase tourism visits to our city? And if not, are there other things we could do with this money that would, like making more upgrades to the convention center?
Right.
You have the city and Keller arguing it's important to move now and move fast because we have a robust lodgers tax. We can get a lot of stuff done with this money now. I think there are more heated discussions to be had on this.
I can feel it too. No question there. Mary, let's stay on that tax that Rachel just established, and that is the idea of the lodgers tax and how it's spent. So, something seemed a little off here that those guys weren't included in this conversation. Is that?
That's what struck me reading the Journal story, was that they seemed surprised by it. It sounded to me like Keller said that they're meeting some deadlines for the next year, but it makes you wonder about the.
Did anyone understand what they were saying when they were talking about this bond thing and the timing? I literally did not understand what they were saying in the article. You know what I mean? It was so arcane and so bizarre.
Yeah.
The public's ability to grasp this. Is this the way to go and hitch it to a bond window?
Well, I think that it's just communication.
Yeah.
I'm curious about the rush to getting to this moment. I don't think something that's really been brought to light yet that could explain that. And if I read correctly, the vote is it still coming up quite soon?
Yes, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. So
scheduled at least, right?
Yeah,
exactly right.
Yeah. So the issue aside, there's the fact that the city has some ideas about what they want to do with this money, and that's its own discussion. But then I think, the idea, if true, that the lodgers or the hoteliers were not part of this is interesting almost as a side story.
Well, here's the piece that was, I'll throw this to Serge. Members of the city's own Lodgers Tax Advisory Board say they knew nothing of the plan until the mayor announced it. That's the city's own, you know what I mean, run deal there. What's your sense of why they're moving this direction to make this kind of work? Why go this route?
Yeah, great question. I mean, I think the lack of communication, the lack of understanding, it could be some sort of tactic we've created this emergency to have it run, to have everybody jump on this, which we've seen in lots of other situations. But that is probably not sufficient justification for this to not have a greater discussion and not have more input on what and how and when and why.
Yep.
I think,
please.
I don't know if we have time, but I think the tension is, right, having a meaningful role for community in these decisions. I mean, we're facing it with what happens with New Mexico United, what happens with the rail yards, what happens with a lot of these big projects that we think will be really transformational for the city. And then there's this idea is how do you get people bought in? And so these advisory committees are supposed to be how we plug community voice into it. People can talk to their elected representative. You can come to city council and say it's a great idea or not. But really, this is how we do it. So I think what's going on, just to your initial question, Gene, is I think what's going on is here's an opportunity to refinance these bonds and to actually add to the bonds. And basically have a revenue stream to back these. It's a great, I think they're seeing it as a great shot in the arm for the economy. It's to build some projects that people have been talking about for a while. I think if they had the money, they'd like to build a stadium for the New Mexico United, given how crazy the support has been for this team and how much we've needed a shot in the arm given everything else going on.
That's right.
they do get something in this process. They get this practice facility. It's also a community facility. So I'm not sure everything in the package can really be considered sports related.
Right.
But I think it's an opportunity that they saw a really like a window where they can add some a huge stimulus. I don't think anybody in the larger business community, the people who build stuff, are going to scream about it. I know the probably construction industry, the commercial real estate industry, all those folks are going to say, hey, you know, mum's the word. Like if they're going to build it, like, you know, our guys can work and it's great for the economy. I don't think they're going to scream about it.
Well, let's talk about this idea of sports tourism in the whole. This one might be able to say it's a bit of a Trojan horse here because you can't really see much in this list, like I read at the beginning of the segment, that would impact tourism, Rachel Sams. You know, I can't see people going, ooh, that connector trail between downtown. Let's get on a plane, honey. Let's spend $5,000 to go to Albuquerque to take that trail in. How does this contribute to tourism? It just seems like an awfully big bucket here, using that word. You know what I mean? This tourism thing.
It's really interesting. I think one factor that may also be at play here is that there just, as Eric said, is this huge excitement around the United in New Mexico right now.
Sure.
And I think that that may be inspiring a desire to do more in sports. It doesn't seem like as a community we're at the place where we would be able to talk about a stadium yet. And when you have those discussions, they get very complicated. That discussion of putting public money into a major stadium is a tough one.
Because not everyone's into soccer.
Right,
But
right.
everyone's paying in.
Yes,
You see what I mean?
exactly.
So it gets tricky.
Exactly.
You know, Mary, I'm selling this idea of sports tourism. Do you hear tourism when you read this list here? Do you feel like there's something out there to get people on airplanes and spend money here?
I definitely thought of tourism when I read the story, but more in the context of, could Albuquerque swing this? Could Albuquerque, you know, like Eric was saying, and you were saying, you know, I don't know if Albuquerque has not really arrived as a city for sports, as a sports destination. So it's a big leap, but I mean, there's obviously some people who think this is what the city needs, and spend a lot of time thinking about it.
Well, you know, it's interesting. They're capitalizing, as I'm rereading the thing here, Serge, the idea that the National Senior Games were a big hit here, right? They're hitching this whole thing. And that's that's great. I'm glad that worked out. But I still don't see how that means sports tourism is a thing here. Because that was not a tourist thing. That was an event that was brought here, right? If this is what they really mean, that we need more events like the Senior Games, that's one thing. But hiding it under tourism, that just seems like a whole other deal altogether.
So, I mean, I'm no stranger to, you know, loosely fitting things into the categories. But let me just say, tourism doesn't have to mean hop on a plane and come to the Sunport, right?
Okay.
If we want someone from Rio Rancho to come use our BMX park and spend money, or, you know, spend the day on the connector trail or whatever. So I'm a little bit more forgiving
But isn't
than
that
you are
sports
with that
participation versus sports tourism?
Well, you got
Is there
to
any-
park and buy food. I mean, I don't know what tourism means necessarily, and I guess the hoteliers would say, well, they're not staying in our hotel.
I think that's the
Maybe
point,
right.
Gene.
Yeah.
I think we're getting hung up on this tourism word. I think what
Right.
they maybe should have said or trying to say is we can bring in sports events which will help with our economy. And I think what the lodges are saying is like, show us, other than Senior Games, are you going to bring in big tournaments? And what they're saying is,
Thank
look,
you.
this will likely bring in more, all sorts of, you know, collegiate level, maybe, you know, amateur level events if we have a better sports infrastructure. And I think it is kind of a messaging issue. It's not like, hey, Albuquerque is a place because I'm a sports fanatic. Like, that's not what they're saying. What they're saying is, where can we hold our Little League tournament? Where can we hold our soccer tournament? Where can we hold our Senior Games? Albuquerque pulled off a really pretty impressive event last year. Like, maybe, you know, they've got a practice field for soccer. They've got a BMX. Like, maybe we want to have our national, international event there. I think that's what this is supposed to say. I'm not sure that's what's being conveyed in the press, right?
I'm
That's
not sold. But I think, you know, I'm a big fan of the United as well.
Sure.
So I'm hoping that we can do something to sort of capitalize on that and maintain that. I don't know that this is the only way.
Last point here, Rachel. Any hit for the mayor from the Lodgers folks on this? He's kind of sideways with them right now.
I think he is. And with the time frame, even, like, how would you even get them together for a meeting now before the vote? Like, that's a tough one.
Oof, well, we'll see what happens there. We're up against the clock. I have to leave it there. When this group comes back, how many times should New Mexico let law enforcement officers get hired after they've been fired somewhere else?